Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Shawn Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Inner Blueprint, the podcast. My name's Shawn Foyer.
And my name's Kaitlin Foyer.
And we are here today to deliver another exciting, educational, inspiring episode to hopefully help you think better thoughts on the inside to create better results on the outside. That's what we do. That's all we do. And we have a lot of amazing guests come on with Kaitlin and I to share how thinking better thoughts, in spite of things on the outside that tell you differently, have created some really amazing results with our clients. But today's episode, Kaitlin and I just want to drop some information for listeners to be able to really commit to their dream, to really commit to this thing that they've been asking for, hoping for. And I think right now we live in such a time where people are kind of stuck at some level based on, a few years ago we got into the COVID, a pandemic globally. There was a lot of fear and anxiety techniques used by governments, by media, to get people in a vibration of fear. And as we found out later, fear isn't real.
No.
Danger is. And even the proposed danger, and with sensitivity that those were affected by it and had lost loved ones, but the ultimate danger wasn't really there the way it was described. And so, we work a lot on helping people find out a fear they have that's holding them back to something they want, but they haven't committed to yet. They don't have the commitment yet. Yeah. So let's talk about the difference between being interested and, because Kaitlin, when I met you, you were very interested in the life of your dreams. And
I was interested. I mean, all over, right? I remember I had, my entire phone was full of screenshots of different inspirational quotes. And that's, the day and age we live in, there's not a shortage of information. So, and
information overload, if anything.
Yeah. And, with my human design, I'm a manifesting generator. I have ADHD, so I'm all over the place. So I was very interested in a ton of things, right? But I was never fully committed to them. I didn't understand the difference between interested versus committed.
Well, and the problem is when you're interested in too many things, you can't commit. I mean, whenever I talk to somebody, they're like, what motivates you? Oh, everything.
Yeah.
If everything is the answer, then nothing is the answer, right? There's no way to focus in on that. And you were interested, and we've talked on past episodes, at using all your talents because you were afraid you were going to lose them.
Yeah, 100%.
Was that true?
No, definitely not true. And it's crazy once I switched my mindset to being like, no, I'm going to go all in on this thing versus I'm going to, it's like never half-ass two things, always just whole-ass one thing.
Yeah.
And I was half-assing about 50 things at the time.
Your ass isn't big enough to do two of those things, let alone 20 of those things.
Right? It's not. I'm not. And so it's really crazy the level of focus it's brought into my life, and the results speak for themselves. I didn't know that I could ever feel so calm. I didn't know that I could ever be focused on something without medication. And it's crazy what this shift has done for me. I mean, again, I have extreme ADHD. I have my entire life, and I was medicated for the majority of my life, and I hated it, man. I hated Adderall because it just made me who I wasn't. It would make me calm. It'd make me tired. It'd make me just hyper-focus on one thing.
You would hyper-focus. I remember when we first met, you were still taking it once in a while, and we went to an event, and I lost you. You were on a piece of paper and just... totally zoned out to everything else around you.
Yeah, and
it wasn't you.
And it's just not me. I'm like a butterfly. I just like to go, just kind of float all over the place. But with this, I never believed that I could do anything without medication. And so it's really amazing that I can and that I have for years now. And it's just been so beneficial, not just to my life, but to the girls' lives, to my friends' lives, to our clients' lives, to, our life together, to your life alone. It's crazy.
To have you committed. And one thing real quick for listeners, because I do know we probably have some listeners, you may be on Adderall, right? And you may have some medication.
Nothing wrong with it.
There is a reason and a purpose for all medication. But one thing we're finding when you get into mindset really deep, Kaitlin doesn't need Adderall anymore because she's learned how to take her ADHD brain, the biological part of her body, and control it with her mind, which we won't go on this episode in detail, but your mind is in every cell of your body.
Yes.
And it's way more powerful than your brain. And she's got her mind focused and committed, which then helps her brain respond to that. And once you have that happen, we find people lowering doses of all kinds of medication.
Well, and it's true.
Stopping drinking, stopping smoking pot.
Yes,
I mean,
all the things.
lots of people don't have that intention when they start with us, but 6 months later, they're seeing less stress, less anxiety because they're focusing their mind, which then calms the brain.
And I've never suffered with anxiety. I've never had it, depression, never worried.
Which is funny because I have a generation of
that.
anxiety, and I fixed it, but you don't even, when I do get it sometimes, she doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I'm like, I
She's
don't
never
know
had
what
an
you're
anxious
feeling.
feeling.
Yeah, and I haven't. And I think it's because of my form of ADHD. And it's so funny, ADHD stands for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's not a deficit, though. It's
your superpower.
It's my superpower. I don't have a deficit of attention. I have
too much
attention.
And too much energy sometimes.
Right? I do.
Never.
And so it's really, really interesting to me how much, we all know, I hope we all know, it's been proven how powerful the mind is. And so to know that to a cellular level, I can actually change the way that I show up, the way I focus on things, where I spend my time, how I spend my time.
With your mind
with my
and
mind.
breath work, you've changed your body.
I've completely changed it.
I go to the gym a lot and work out a lot. Kaitlin does a lot of breath work, and with her mind, her body's changing. It looks like she's done stuff at the gym.
Yeah.
And people don't believe us, but I am with this woman 24/7, 365 days a year pretty much. And while I'm working out, she's doing breath work and controlling her mind. Yeah. But going back, and we'll keep tying it back, this whole episode, are you interested or are you committed? Because when I met Kaitlin, she was interested in a lot of things.
Everything. I was interested in everything at some level.
And she had a lot of talents. She was a coach, a salesperson, a photographer, a mom,
marketing expert.
Yeah. I mean, you name it, she was doing it, and she was pretty good at all of it.
But until I shifted and
There's
really dove in.
There's not enough time in the day to do all that.
There wasn't. I would always say, man, I wish there was like a few more hours a day.
An 8th day. You were looking for the 8th day.
I always. I mean, always looking for
And you would have felt that and needed a 9th day and a 10th day.
Absolutely.
And so many people that we meet, and myself in the past, we all want that extra day. We all want the 8th day.
Well, and it's so funny because we all know I can fit more into an hour than the average person, right? I have my own time zone.
Listeners, if you don't know, if you've never heard this, we live in the mountain time zone. I work with a lot of people in the Eastern time zone. Kaitlin has her own time zone, and it's called KST. It's Kaitlin Standard Time. And when I first met her, that meant putting 24 hours worth of activities into an 8 or 10 hour block. If you've ever tried to do that, it's very chaotic, very chaotic.
Very chaotic.
Now, we still have KST. It's just a whole new level, and it's more committed and focused than I think you ever thought possible.
100% it is. And so it's funny because, when you say you're interested, you do what's convenient, right? And I think that's what the majority of people do because
we are interested in it.
We're interested in it, and convenient doesn't necessarily mean convenient. It just means we're doing what we're used to. We're doing we're doing things the way we're used to doing them.
But it is convenient because, for both of us, when we got committed, it takes them uncomfortable. It takes getting up early.
Yes.
I mean, how many 3 a.m. wake-ups have we had to catch flights after training for 2 days straight?
Yes.
That's not comfortable.
No.
But it's what we have to do. Even today, I had a client come to our house, wanted to sauna, so I got up at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Didn't go to bed that early.
Yeah.
Got done with him, and he left as I stepped in my first call at 8, nonstop, and I did a call on the way here to the studio.
Yep.
I put more in less time than I ever have, but it's not chaotic and it's not crazy.
It's very focused.
Because my mind is focused. I meditated this morning. I'm calm.
Yep.
I did my worthy goal. I'm inspired. I did my IMs. I'm being the version of the person I need to be inside out, not respond to the outside world.
Well, that's so true because the commitment thing, right? Like you're so committed to your routine. I'm so committed to mine. Now
and they're different, very different. Mine's more masculine, yours is more feminine.
Yeah, and we step into it with, like you said, we had a meditation on it starting at 6 a.m. this morning, or even before that, we started that meditation.
We found a Louise Hayes.
Yeah.
11-hour. And you're supposed to listen to it while you sleep, and it doesn't loop. You can't tell where it begins or ends. It's like the coolest.
It's really
and we're going to be listening to this, and if listeners, you got to subscribe, and you got to put in the comment, inspire.
How about committed?
Committed.
If you put in the comments committed, we'll send you.
Put committed in there, and I'll send you privately this 11-hour meditation. You can probably find it by Google, but it'd be funner to follow us and get connected, and let's get you some, and we'll keep getting you good information, I promise. So, Kaitlin, I think for listeners, and I do want to share this part of the story for me. But then I want you to, let's share more about your journey from meeting me, having been interested in living the life of your dreams for quite a while, of how much work I had to do to get you to commit. And then once you committed, we can talk about some of the fun that's come out of commitment.
Yeah.
And the first commitment she made was to herself. But for me, and I've told this story before, but I went through a really challenging period from about 2014 to 2019. And after a 20-year successful career, a 20-year prior relationship, just lots of what was really good, I find myself at rock bottom. And when I say rock bottom, we talk about the trifecta in our mindset work. The trifecta is better finances, better health and wellness, and better relationship with self. And I always have, and we always have, people rate themselves. But when I started my journey, I was maybe a 2 if I'm generous. 2 out of 10 on my money. I was broke. 2 out of 10 on my health and wellness. Mentally, I couldn't think a clear thought. Physically, I was being prescribed all kinds of prescriptions for depression, anxiety. I've been told I had a personality disorder, which was very interesting to see.
Well, you were told that, but not by a professional.
Yeah, not by a professional, by lots of supposed, and even some therapists I was working with that really didn't understand the situation. But again, I didn't listen to that noise. And then in relationships, my self-love and confidence was at an all-time low. So I'm a 2 out of 10. I find some of this information. I'd been reading the book Think and Grow Rich since 2003. It's almost a decade without success, actually fully implementing it. And I did it really good on the outside, right? I mean, from the outside world, I looked like I had an amazing life. Yeah. I just didn't have it inside. But in 2019, I will never forget, September of 2019, after putting I think it was a $25,000 or $30,000 fee to join back then. I didn't have it. I put $5,000 on a credit card. I put the flights to Toronto on a credit card. And I showed up at my first live proctor training. 250 consultants in the room. One of the coolest communities I've ever stepped into because there was so much positivity. But then out walks Bob Proctor, a man who I saw him back in 2006 on The Secret. I'd watched all his videos. And here he is in the flesh and blood standing on that stage. His energy was and still is on the other side, larger than life. Perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect voice. Just walking around, owning that stage, looking at each one of us. And when he spoke, he used to say, if you connect with one, you connect with all. And he connected with me for sure. And he said it to the group, but I heard this. Shawn, if you want to live the life of your dreams, if you want to live life like I do, and I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and I've got friends all over the world, then what I'm going to ask you to do is exactly what I tell you to do. The lessons I give you, the homework you're assigned, I want you to do it. And if you do it, 6 months from now, you'll need a telescope to look back and see the person you once were. And it's not a new version of you, it's the original, because your spiritual DNA, Shawn, was perfect. You were born in perfection, and you let life create paradigms that don't serve you. So I have a question for you, Shawn. And again, I'm just hearing him talking to me. At this moment, there's nobody else in this auditorium. It's me and Bob. And he said, you have to ask yourself, are you interested in living the life of the dreams I'm describing, or are you committed? Because if you are interested, you'll do what's convenient, and you won't really change, and you won't really see any of it, and you'll never live the life of your dreams. But if you make a decision today, and you give me your commitment, and I want you to write down you are committed to your dream, even if you don't know what the dream is, and forget about the how, just commit today, and you're going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And he stopped. And I looked around the room, and I thought about where I'd been, and I thought about how close I'd come quite a few times to really hitting that pinnacle I'd been, and how I'd just fallen short. And it's because I'd just been interested. And when I got comfortable, I lost my commitment. And so I made a decision that day to be committed. Now, that was in September 2019. Almost a year later, God brought me this beautiful woman at a training, and we walked in, and she was interested, and now I will finally shut up.
Well, no, and I think that it's so funny, the interested versus committed. That's why there's such a strong saying that, oh, you can never, like, people can never change. Like, people never change. Like, people will never change. And it's true. If you're only interested in change, you will never change. Yeah. And so it's until you get committed that change starts to really happen, that you start to change who you are, how you show up, what you believe you deserve, everything like that. And so it's just so interesting to me, this difference, because we've all heard, interested, we've all heard committed, like, are you committed? And I grew up as an athlete, and then I coached athletes.
You were very committed in certain things.
Very committed in so many things. And so
but too many things.
But too many things. That exactly is it. And so a great example of this is, before I met Shawn, I was really into Andy Frisella. I think that I love Andy Frisella and the 75 Hard program. I bought the book. I'd subscribed to the podcast. I had tried to do 75 Hard 2 different times because I wasn't fully committed. I was interested. I thought I was committed, but the results show I would get to, like 20 days, or I would get to like 40 days. And then I would go back to my old habits, or I would do what was convenient because, again, I wasn't committed.
When I love too, because here I meet this beautiful woman. And I hadn't heard of Andy Frisella. And remember, I'm already committed at this point. To anything and everything I decide to do, I'm at the level of commitment. I don't say I'm going to do it. And anyone who's worked with me knows if I commit to you, I'm going to do something for you. If I'm going to show up in a certain way, you can take that to the bank. My commitment is my word.
Yeah.
And so she started telling me about this Andy Frisella, and I'm listening to his podcast thinking, first of all, this is hot. This girl listens to this guy. He's dropping F-bombs and like kind of inappropriate. I'm like, Kaitlin likes this. Like, what else does she like?
Oh, yeah,
right?
That's my cup of tea. We all know that. We definitely all know that.
Yeah, I didn't at the time, but it was really exciting. And I was like, well, she likes this. We should do it.
Yeah, and so
we did it.
We did it, and it took about a year for us to do it because I'd been talking about it, again, very interested, but I'd started implementing things in my life of where I was truly committed to things, going all in, and not just going all in where it was convenient, but going all in, and doing what it took no matter what. And so in 2021, we did 75 Hard.
Except for
Shawn decided, he said, you know what? Words have meaning, and they do.
Yeah.
That's been
because
proven
when you're doing
over and
something
over.
hard, you're creating hard before you even start.
And so you think it's hard, right?
And Andy wanted it to be hard.
Yeah.
So he not only called us 75 Hard, but then he was very extreme in the way he talked about the rules.
Yes.
And in the way he just talking about it was so hard to do. And
Shawn was like, we're going to call it 75 easy.
Easy. It's
and
easy.
I kind of fought you on that.
Easy.
I kind of fought you on that. I was like, no, it's hard. Like, it's supposed to be hard. Like, but I can do hard things, Shawn. We can do hard things. And he was like, listen to yourself.
And so many people, Goggins goes around talking about running on broken legs, and he's committed to hard. And even when he gets to success, and this is no knock on him, but he's addicted to pain and suffering. And that's a condition. And so many of us are. Kaitlin was. She wanted to make it hard. And
I
like,
did.
Oh,
the harder, the better.
Darn,
the bigger the
reward.
reward.
Over here, because in the mindset world, I make everything easy.
Yeah.
My health and wellness is easy. My business is easy. Our relationship, although challenging because all relationships are, we make it easy.
It is.
And I don't like the paradigm or the program of hard. So if you're listening to this right now and you're one of those people, which many of us are and I used to be, get rid of the hard. Call it all easy or call it a challenge. Challenge is easier than hard.
Yes.
I like challenges.
I
don't do hard. I like challenges. And some of my challenges are what people would call hard things. I don't do hard. So we call it 75 easy.
And we got through it. And it's so funny.
And
we
then
started
we made a commitment, though.
We did. We made that commitment.
Did we post it on social media?
We put it on social media.
I'm a mindset coach. If I start this and fail, who's going to hire me as a mindset coach?
Yep.
So I knew, and that's one thing when you're trying to commit to something, if you can get external accountability,
Yep.
I remember reading a book, I think it might have been The Power Habit or The Morning Miracle, one of them, but it talked about like when people commit to do marathons or do something really challenging, if they put something else in line, like this one gentleman had told his kids he was going to do it.
Okay.
And once as a father, he told his kids
yeah.
he knew he wouldn't not do it. And he already bought things for the trip and planned ahead. And if he was to stop training, the first conversation he would have to have was with his 2 young children. And that's how you can help with commitment. It's one thing for you to make a commitment. It's another thing to make it a public. And with 75 Easy, I went on social media, said I was going to do it, said I was going to call it 75 Easy, tried calling out Andy Frisella to get his attention with it because I thought that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And then I posted every day with a number. And you know how
Every
much fun I had with my stories. I was getting graphics for the numbers, songs to go along.
Oh, yeah.
But we did it 75. And was it
And it was probably
challenging?
the most inconvenient time of year to do it. We started in October, so that means we were on it.
Halloween, no sugar. Thanksgiving, no carbs.
My birthday.
Your birthday, no cake.
Yeah, and
all
then
the way up till
right before
Christmas.
Right before Christmas. And so it was so crazy because I thought, okay, I guess we're going to see what this goes. I mean, I'm committed, so I know I'm going to do it, but I don't know how at this point. So we're just going to go day by day.
The cool thing, and listeners are going to get a chance to meet our good friend Janitha, who we're doing an episode with, but she decided to do it with us.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I already go to the gym once a day. Janitha's very active. You were actually active at the cheer gym every night.
Yep.
And so we're like, it's just it's 2 workouts, 2:45, one inside,
And we
one
were
outside.
going to yoga every morning
We're going
anyway.
to yoga every morning.
And so we were like, we
you
can
were
do
already
this.
drinking water. We didn't really drink that much alcohol at the time. No alcohol. And you can look up the challenges, but it's got like a list of things, and you have to do them all every day. And it wasn't easy. We made it easier, but there were days. I remember the 3 of us come back from a trip.
Yeah.
And we were planning on going to my 24/7 gym. And we got to my loft downtown at 10 o'clock.
I found out it was a
It was a
24/5.
24/5 gym. It wasn't open on Saturdays and Sundays. And we're getting to midnight. If we don't get a workout in 45 minutes,
We fail.
we fell. So we're at my loft, which is kind of my office/weekend place Kayla and I would stay. I had a yoga ball, some
Resistance
TRX
bands.
resistance bands, and something else. We made up a workout, and for 45 minutes, the 3 of us ran around a 700
Doing
square
the
foot
different
office,
stations.
We
Yeah.
made stations, and we made it work. Another time, we're at a University of Utah football game,
Oh my God.
and we didn't have time for the workout before. And so
The outdoor one. We done
Yeah.
one already, but yeah, the outdoor one.
Yeah, we didn't have the outdoor one, and the game was going to get over at 11, and it's about an hour walk home.
Yeah.
So we took an Uber to the game, knowing that to get our workout in, we were going to have to walk home after.
And we did.
And we did it.
At 11 p.m. downtown Salt Lake City, we're just hauling
Yeah,
ass.
and there's parts on the walk that weren't the safest for
No.
us to be walking, but it was like we weren't interested in doing this thing. We had made a commitment to ourselves. We had made a commitment online. We were going to do it, and
No matter what it took. And it's so funny because I had started utilizing this level of commitment versus interested up to then. And it's crazy because it already made so many things easier in my life. I'm a very powerful manifester. And, I was interested in The Secret. I read the book. I saw the movie, followed Jack Canfield, followed Bob Proctor, followed, Wayne Dyer and all of these things. And I was like, I'm going to do what they do. But I would do it in an interested type of way here and there. And,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I would go and I'd get a front row park every time I went because that was something I was like, that's easy. I can do that. But until I really learned what it was meant fully to be committed to something, I didn't understand how powerful of a manifestor I really was.
Yeah.
Because then I could put it to work because I
Yeah.
was committed to it. Not like, oh, I'm really interested in this and I know I can make it happen, but maybe there's a self-limiting belief inside me that thinks I don't deserve it or thinks that I'm programmed to think that was too easy so it can't be real, those kind of things. And so it really is amazing. And I would run around before I met Shawn and even, the first, I'd say year of our relationship.
Took me a little while to get her committed.
Right?
To
Where I
me
was
and
just
to the
doing so
program.
much. And I remember people would say to me like, God, I don't know how you do it all. I just feel so bad for you. You never stop. And that was a lot of feedback I was getting, like, oh my gosh, do you ever sleep? Like, oh my gosh, like you just look like you are just like you never stop. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't stop. I gotta keep going. And now it's so crazy because I actually do more now physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's wild because now I'm getting some of that same feedback. Like, I don't know how you do it all, but dear God, you're thriving. Like, you have a dream life. Like, it's not this, I feel sorry. And it's all that changed in me was my mindset on it, was where my set point was.
You create calm on the inside.
Yeah.
Which calm on the inside handles any chaos on the outside.
And it's with ease.
Yeah. And in the past, you had chaos on the outside. Mm-hmm. So you're matching it with chaos on the inside.
Big
and
time.
Creating,
Fires all around me. all the time.
exponential growth and craziness. And we do. One for you, Kaitlin, when you're committed, is that you do it 3 days a week, or is that the type of thing we're going to do every day?
Every day, no matter what.
So what are you committed to?
I'm committed to breath work. I do that
Every
every day.
day?
I'm committed to gratitude. I have a gratitude meditation I listen to every single day. And it's something that I, if I get upset at something, say someone like cuts me off while I'm driving. We all know I'm a very effective driver. I get.
Did she say offensive driver?
I'm not offensive.
Oh, you're on the offense. That's what it is.
There we go.
I
Okay.
think that's called offensive.
But if someone cuts me off, or if someone's not going, and I get really frustrated, I've committed myself to this level of gratitude where I just automatically think of something I'm grateful for. Like, wow, I'm so grateful that I didn't make that light. What if something happened?
Yeah.
I'm so
Or
grateful.
I'm glad I'm not as busy and as big a hurry as they
Yep.
are. I have time to get where
And
I'm
so
going.
I just switch it to gratitude, and it's something that is ingrained in me now. I was always a grateful person, but it is part of me. Like, it is
Yeah.
absolutely part of me. I don't have to think; it just comes out. I'm committed to my affirmations, and it's something that I do every single day. Like I stand in front of the mirror naked every single day, and I say, I love my body. My body is perfect. My body is sexy. I love my body.
Did you believe that when you met me?
No.
Okay. When you first started saying it, how did it feel?
Very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And I couldn't even look in the mirror and say it.
And that's the point of affirmations, because Kaitlin, when I met her, was already doing affirmations, but she was doing negative ones that were programmed into her. She was telling her things she'd heard from other relationships about her body. And to me, to think anybody could have ever told this woman that she was ugly or unattractive, or some of the things that she'd been programmed.
Yeah.
And listeners, think about some of the things that you know, one of my most frustrating things as a mindset coach is getting with, and it's a lot of times it's powerful men. I don't do affirmations, Shawn. I'm not going to look in the mirror and say I love myself. And I'm like, well, really, motherfucker? You just actually sat there and told me all these shitty things you say about yourself every day. The fact you don't look in the mirror doesn't make them any less powerful. You just said you're hypercritical, you're a control freak, you're manipulative, you're this, you're that. Start telling yourself. And so Kaitlin didn't believe this about her body. She started saying that with breath work, and her body transformed. Her body said, okay, we're going to listen to what her mind's telling us. And literally the shape of her body changed. Crazy.
It hasn't. It really is so crazy. And so that's another thing I'm committed to. And it's so funny because
affirmations, breath work,
gratitude.
I
mean, our modules.
You do planks. You do the modules.
I do planks. It's something.
Do you have a goal? Is there something driving you?
Yes. And my big worthy goal, I am so committed to every part of that. And it's so funny because all of these things don't seem like big things. Like, okay, commit to being grateful and having some kind of gratitude practice that you do every day. Be grateful to breathing. And be committed to doing breath work, which is work, but also it's just
you breathe all day, every day.
We
right?
breathe
like
all day, every day.
Yeah,
we breathe all day, every day, and we never think about it. Like, how ignorant is that, right? And affirmations. Hello, I talk to myself. You talk to yourself. Most people talk to themselves at some level.
Yeah.
So that's not hard. And my worthy goal and how I listen to our modules, because it just fills me, like I'm committed to filling my brain with powerful, life-changing material, honestly.
Yeah.
Because before it was like, I would just listen to whatever music I wanted to listen to.
Or Andy Frisella. Telling you to make things hard.
But I still listen to him. And so it's so funny. Those things, people go, oh, well, that's easy. I should be able to be committed to that. Yeah, you should. And it's so crazy because it will make you be committed to everything else in your life at such a higher level.
Yeah.
Being able to be, committed to different work projects, to different things with the girls, to different things in our lives. I'm just like, like if I say it, I'm doing it. And I don't make it hard. I make it easy.
And that's one of my favorite things too. And think about it. Are you of your word? The training that me and Kaitlin and our friend Janitha, who's going to be introduced on an episode, we learned about being of your word and showing up. And myself, Kaitlin, and Janitha, when we first started hanging out, that's one thing I noticed real quickly that was different about both of you, is when you told me you were going to do something, you actually did it.
Yeah.
So even though you were interested in a lot of things, you had that level. Like when we first started going to yoga together, I'm a morning person. I'm up, if I let myself, 3 or 4 a.m. every morning, but the latest 6 a.m. So I would go to 6 a.m. yoga. And Caitlin's a stay up till midnight, still get up by 7-ish, but not jump out of bed because she goes to bed so late. So we meet, and at this point we're just friends, and I'm going to yoga, and Janitha does yoga, and Caitlin's like, well, yeah, let's go to yoga. I'll go with you, Shawn. I said, okay, it's 6 a.m. It's in Salt Lake, and you're coming down from North Salt Lake. I'll be there. So Monday morning, I get there. She's not going to show up. She showed up.
Yeah.
Tuesday, she beats me there. Wednesday, she beats me there. By the time we got to Thursday, I'm like, this girl's going to make it every day this weekend. She did, all 5 days. And that
was the start of it. And we did that for years.
Yeah.
Years and years.
Just committed. Well, and again, if you're thinking about what are you committed to, there's one thing that you can start doing today. Don't wait till tomorrow. One thing you can start doing today. And this comes from Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit. And he talks about the habit loop. But there are certain things that once you make them a habit, they're keystone, and they affect other areas of your life. Anybody who's trying to quit nicotine or quit smoking cigarettes, there's studies that show as soon as somebody quits smoking cigarettes, they start eating healthier, they start tasting their food, they start actually wanting to work out because now they don't have the smoke in their lungs every day, so they want to maybe walk or run.
They usually start dressing better and
they smell better. So when they smell better, they actually get into better relationships and start doing some different things. 75 easy. drink a gallon of water a day. That's a good keystone habit. You start drinking enough water, and that's one thing. We actually talk on the program how one of my paradigms from childhood was my mom was instructed by a pediatrician to feed me Jello water as a finicky baby. Rotted my teeth out, got me addicted to sugar water. My mom loved Coke. I loved Coke. I never would drink water. And so when I met her, I was drinking a little bit, but I made the commitment. And then when we started 75 Easy, that's a keystone habit. I still to this day drink at least a gallon of water every day. And that leads to me wanting to work out more. That leads to me being healthier in my, diet choices. It really is. So listeners, what's one thing that you should be doing that you're not, that if you committed, instead of being interested in taking your family on a Disney vacation once a year, instead of being interested in getting into a little bit better shape, instead of being interested in getting a raise, instead of being interested to working on your connection with your spouse, pick one thing and commit to it today and start doing it today.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get exercise in and it's something that's challenging, commit to do a 15-minute walk. It's baby steps. One thing, 15-minute walk for 30 days. If you do it every day for 30 days, at the end of 30 days, you're going to, one, start jogging probably.
Or walking more than 15.
Or walking faster or more.
Yeah, more
and
than
then once you have that as a habit, now you can stack to it. I mean, you've seen me. I was pretty committed and routine when you met me.
Yeah. But you are on fire.
What does it look like today?
Yeah, it's crazy. You're literally on fire about it. Like it really is amazing to me. And so it's funny because when you actually just start committing to these small things in your life, it makes committing to big things that much easier.
Yeah, when that goes to how you do one thing.
Yeah, how you do one thing.
Do everything.
How you do it all.
And if you're half-assing it all, you're half-assing it all. And if you're doing one thing really well, eventually you're going to do everything really well. But it starts with those baby steps of committing to one thing at a time. We think about New Year's resolutions have kind of gone away because people would always pick too many.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to do this,
and then even if they only picked one, they were interested, not committed. And this is a refresher, but listeners, if you're watching me, you can see my hands, but I'm holding my hands up. Just clasp them together. Don't think about it. Just clasp them together. And as you clasp them together, notice which thumb's on top. Mine's my right.
Mine's my right.
Yours always your right. Now take them and move them one finger apart, so the opposite thumb, and squeeze them. What does that feel like? Feels weird. Feels a little uncomfortable.
If we told you to clasp your hands again, you wouldn't just
do it that
automatically
way.
go to that.
And you want to go back. So you're so programmed as a human being that you don't want to move your fingers one without it feeling comfortable, and yet you try and do all these things at once. If I was going to try to change anything about my body, I would start by doing this the opposite way every day for 30 days, and then that would be my new way of doing it. And I wouldn't do right thumb. I'd always do left thumb. 30 days, new habit, new paradigm.
Or we could do, the two thumbs together.
Every once in a while I have somebody throw me off and they say, neither's on top.
Ryan Peterson, I'm talking to you.
Yes.
But it's so true. And I mean, this could be something so simple. So one thing with me too is I was an obsessive nail picker my entire life. I mean, there's pictures of me as a baby with my fingers in my mouth. And it was a constant thing.
And you actually impressed that upon your daughters.
I totally did.
Which is
I
crazy.
feel so bad.
I met them, I'm hanging out, I'm like, I got all these nail biters around me. What the hell's going on?
And I was so ashamed of it. I hated it. I would get my nails done. I'd pick them off. It's just what I did. And now for over a year and a half, I started going to Alia. And she charges more and she does way better work. And
you committed to it.
I committed to it. She said, trust me. You just have to trust this journey. And I promise I will get you to a point where your nails are long, they're strong. You won't want to bite them. You won't want to pick them. And in fact, they'll be so strong that you won't be able to.
But then you told me you were committed. And once you were committed, I helped you. I mean, how many times at first would we be driving and I'd catch you doing it? And I'd just softly.
Hey, don't do that.
Don't do that. Stop. And for you, a mindset hack, when you're trying to kill an old habit or a pattern, like say you have a thought of worry that keeps coming up and you don't want to think it. And I learned this from Mr. Jack Canfield. I love you, Jack. Cancel. Literally train yourself.
To say.
If I'm worried about something, if I'm thinking about something, or if I see Kaitlin doing something she's committed not to do, hey, cancel, right? It's a command of the subconscious to knock it off.
Yeah.
And then if it's a negative thought, I say cancel, and I think of something positive and happy. So I train my mind to go the places I want it to, happy, and get it out of stress and anxiety.
Well, and it's so amazing too, because even just going back to the nail picking, nail biting thing, obviously that was in me as like this deep paradigm of this habit that I did to calm my mind or to like take my mind off of something.
You had a lot of stress and anxiety around you.
And trauma that I was holding on to.
So that was just
it was a nervous habit.
Kind of like anybody that watched Mike Tyson hold himself back from knocking out Jake Paul.
Right.
He had to sit and bite his thing.
Yeah.
That was a nervous twitch. That's energy trying to get out of you. And I don't care what anybody says. Mike Tyson
He was holding back.
had to hold back because he was about ready to knock that boy's ass out. But he had to bite it. He had to bite it.
And so it was
she is biting it
nervous
because she's
habit.
got all this energy that needs to get out, but it's all scattered and there's
Or-
nowhere to focus it.
And it was energy that, showed up as unresolved trauma, as, self-limiting beliefs, things like that. And so once I stopped touching my nails and trusting Alia and going through all of this, I was able to address some things that I'd been holding really deep down inside of me. It's really amazing.
We should do an episode on anxiety.
Yeah.
Because worry leads to anxiety.
Yeah.
And you don't suffer from anxiety, but you did suffer with the anxious vibration that made you
that
do
like
this.
nervous
And maybe that's
tick.
why you never fully felt it, because you would get it out of you.
Yeah.
In the ticks. Ooh, I haven't even thought about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because anxiety, and we'll expound on this in a full episode, but it's your power trying to get out. It's something taking away your power, and internally you're trying to work it out, and you can't. You can't. You have to get it out of you. That's why exercise is prescribed a lot for anxiety. Get the energy out of you.
Yeah.
But what's more powerful is to go into your mind, figure out what's blocking you, what self-limiting belief, what story that's not true.
Or what trauma. And you don't have to necessarily address
And then make
what-
a commitment.
Yes,
to
make that
change it.
commitment. You don't have to go back and address the trauma or the traumatic event that happened. Just realize, oh, that's why I do that. I'm committed to releasing that.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy how when you commit to something by breaking a habit or something like that, how it starts to show up in all other areas of your life.
So real quick, just takeaway for listeners. Miss Kaitlin and I both had pretty successful lives prior to meeting each other.
Yeah.
We both had things happen that made us get to a level that we were committed to living our dream life. We've been committed on that journey since meeting in 2020. What does it look like? And again, not bragging, but inspiring. What does our life look like today? How's our physical health and wellness?
Well, if I take the words of many other of my friends and people in my life, it looks like a fairy tale.
Okay, so we live a fairy tale. Is
Yeah.
it real?
Absolutely it is.
Is anything we put online phony or
Not
bogus
even
or bullshit?
kind of.
Okay,
In fact, we hold back.
because we don't want to
Come off
over
as too
embellish
much.
or like too
Yes.
much, right?
And
Which
that's
is
why I say,
still-
like, my close friends can say, like, oh my God, like, you're living a dream life. Like, you are living a fairy tale. And I'm like, I absolutely am. And
But
it's
you
easier.
committed to it and
Yeah.
you're willing, and it hasn't been all easy.
Oh no.
We make it easy. We've gone at it. We've had disagreements. We've lost loved ones during this process. We've had lawsuits. We've had all kinds of things come up in our experience to challenge
But
us.
because we're so committed,
We're committed to the life of our dreams.
it's
Those
things are easy.
In the last year, we had a dream wedding, a dream honeymoon, we got a trip gifted to us where we ended up on a private plane and a private yacht.
Yeah.
With some really good people, and it was given to us. I got a sauna that I sit in every day that was gifted to us by our clients. We bought our dream home a little over a year ago. We have a boat we share with some good friends of ours. We drive the cars of our dreams.
And they're paid off.
We're not in debt. Yeah,
We have no debt.
We pay cash
We have
for
no
almost
debt.
everything. Even our house has a small mortgage on it, but everything is what, and we can do an episode on the Life Script letter too. I wrote it in a letter in 2014.
Yeah.
And it's all true today.
Yeah.
So by being committed, and again, we're not bragging, we're just inspiring.
Yes.
The trifecta, our money's better than it's ever been.
Yep.
We're in a great position for now. We're in a great position for our retirement. Our business is up year over year. Our finances are good. Our health and wellness, I'm 51 years old, prescription free, ailment free.
Same.
Peace, presence, healthy body, probably the best body I've ever lived in. Kaitlin, same thing. Our mental, we don't have stress and anxiety. We don't have worry. We have a lot of bliss and a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
Our personal relationships, we both love ourselves more than we ever have.
So much.
And again, this is how we all can live. You can live this way.
Yeah.
And the only thing holding you back is you're interested, you're not committed. So the challenge is, listener, commit to one thing. Pick one of those areas. You want better money, better health and wellness, better relationship. Doesn't matter which one you pick. If you work on one of them, it will roll over and affect the other ones. But pick one area and pick one thing and start doing it right when you push stop on this episode.
Yeah.
Go, if you want to exercise, go for a walk. If
Yep.
you want to have a better relationship with your spouse, call them right now and set the intention.
Yeah.
If you want to make more money, decide right now how much and what's one thing you can do today that'll build a pattern,
move
not
the
a quick
needle.
fix, but a pattern to move the needle.
Yeah.
And
How does it get better?
it just did. Thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe button, share with somebody that needs to hear the message. And as always, think better thoughts.
And enjoy the ride.
It's a good one. Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Shawn Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride.